This is the time of the year when we've all been throwing an umbrella rig quite a bit. December, January, February, March, a great umbrella rig type time of the year, particularly if you've got a clear water lake, and if you're fishing for some really big fish. You're fishing down some of the lakes in the south that's got double-digit fish in them. This is the time to catch them, and umbrella rig's a really, really good bait to catch them on. How do you store those stinking things? What's a good way to store an umbrella rig? Now, they do have some tackle boxes made, but it'll only hold about 4 umbrella rigs. What's a little trick that you can use, a little piece of almost nothing, that'll help you store your umbrella rigs, keep them from getting all tangled up together? Good morning, girls and guys. March 3, that's right, March 3, reading from a Catch a Better Life book on the Catch a Better Life channel on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to this channel, you're listening to this, you're not subscribed to the Catch a Better Life YouTube channel, subscribe, please, right now. Over 24,000 people, some of the finest people in the world on here. 2 Kings 6:16 is what we're looking at. It says, do not fear. Boy, that's a good one right there. Just stop. Let's talk about that. Do not fear. For those who are with us are more than those who are with them. What in the world is that? This is one of my favorite stories in the Bible right here. This is it right here. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them. One thing about bass fishing to remember is, if you catch one, there's usually several more close by. Bass are rarely alone. If there's a bunch of them there, that's what we call a honey hole. That's what we call a honey hole. If we're saved, we're like those bass. We are never alone. We are absolutely never alone. God is always with us. The scripture for today comes from one of my favorite stories about God's presence with us, about God being with us right here, right now, standing out here on the bank of this lake. The prophet Elisha's servant, surrounded by a great army, cried out to Elisha, "What shall we do? What shall we do?" Elisha calmly answered and asked God. He prayed. He asked God to open his servant's eyes and let him see. There was a reason Elisha was not worried. He knew what was there. And he asked God, open my servant's eyes. Let him see why we shall not fear. God complied, and the servant saw the mountains. The mountains were full of horses and chariots of fire. God's army surrounded them, and he was ready to defend them. God's army was with them all along. The servant just couldn't see it. Elisha was so confident he didn't pray and ask God to deliver him. He could look around and see he had already been delivered. But he prayed to God, open my servant's eyes. Let him see what I'm seeing. Let him see what you've provided for us. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could look around us and see chariots of fire, to see mighty angels, to see what God's presence really is like around our bodies all the time? One of these days we will be. One of these days we can. God's army surrounded them, was ready to defend them. And it's still there today to fight your battles and to fight mine. God's army. God's army. Horses and chariots of fire. Mighty angels. Angels that can kill thousands of men. Oh, that's just awesome. That's awesome. Here's our tip for today. Rubber washers. That's right. Just little rubber washers work well for storing umbrella rigs. Now, how do you do that? How do you do that? You just take a washer and go over the head of the bait. The washer's got a hole in the middle of it, a rubber washer. Go over the head of the bait, and then just pull that washer down over your wires that go back to your jig. Now, on some of them, if they've got extra blades on the wires, like I do run quite a bit, you can only go down to that first blade that's on that wire. But pull it down. If you don't, you can go all the way down to your hook, and that makes your bait compact, and you can store it really easy. Guys, go out there and have your great one today. And remember, I sure do love you.